Hello, everyone. Welcome, and welcome to you, VAIS Facilitators, and this is for the 2016 Leading Learning Conference that's going to be taking place on October 14th in Richmond. And this is an actual training for what you're to do as a facilitator for the conference, and we're thrilled to have you aboard. Just a few things I want to talk about. You remember that the theme for the conference is Seeding the Future, Growing Through Failure. So we want you to thread that theme in what you do as a facilitator. What is a facilitator? A facilitator is a curator of knowledge who helps to guide a team to achieve what they want or need to do or get where they want or need to go. And your role as a facilitator is going to be critical to making this day successful for all. We talk about a facilitator in a lot of different ways. We talk about a facilitator as a partner, a guide, a taskmaster, a planner, an enabler, and a motivator. And you'll see the various descriptions here of each of these, but we're really looking to you to stimulate interaction and get the conversation and the connection going with the participants who are at the Leading Learning Conference. So your purpose for October 14th is to introduce the speakers, to manage the time, and the time is 20 minutes for each part or each presentation, and they're going to be roughly 2 presentations per session, and then 20 minutes for Q&A or whatever you decide as a facilitator to, or however you decide as a facilitator to engage the participants. And we again will urge you to go back to the growth through failure theme. We've talked about some of the questions for overall understanding of the conference theme. These questions were also provided to the speakers, but let me take a minute just to go through them here. Remember the things we've talked about in our meetings. How has the speaker taken risks or innovated in their class? How have they used failure as a tool for growth? Has the project-based learning or inquiry-based learning been successful with their students? Have they inspired their students? And have they been able to change the mindset in the classroom? When we talk about mindset, we talk about a growth versus a fixed mindset, that whole Carol Dweck perspective. How have you breathed life into a former lesson? And when I say you here, we're talking about the speaker. How has the speaker modified their approach to learning? How does their teaching changes, how do their teaching changes affect assessment? And then finally, what skills are they working on that develop or encourage empathy in the classroom? So these are a number of different questions we provided to the speakers. They're important for you as a facilitator to kind of have in your back pocket when you're going to stimulate conversation after the sessions. So here's your action plan as a facilitator. Before the conference, we will ask you to contact your speakers in advance, introduce yourself, and write down 3 great understandings that you gain from your conversations with each of your speakers. Predetermine which speaker you would like to go first. This is pretty critical. And then think about some commonalities once you've made those phone calls between the 2 speakers you've spoken with, and make note of them so that you have those notes on hand and you're prepared for the conference. Probably the most important thing, and I can't stress this slide enough, is that before the conference, both presentations need to be on one computer. If you'd like to use your computer, or if one of the speakers is willing to use one of their computer, it's important to try and get both presentations on one computer. If it is not possible to do so, the other opportunity would be to have someone bring their presentation on a thumb drive and have one speaker just load their presentation on the computer once they get to the conference. But I really would like you, if possible, to iron this out prior to the conference. And if you can, do not wait until the last week to make this happen, because it's going to cause undue angst for the speakers, and we really want them to be at ease with their presentation. On the day of the conference, meet the presenters in the room 30 minutes prior to their talks if possible, and make sure everything is set to their liking. We're going to do our best, but in most cases the rooms will be set theater style, so you will be aware that all the chairs will be facing front. It's not the most collaborative approach, but it is the way that we can fit the most participants. At the start of the presentation, introduce your speaker and remember to only give the name, title, and presentation title, no more than that. And then one thing I urge you to do is to keep the time. Remember, 20 minutes per speaker and then 20 minutes of Q&A. So here is how it should look. First presentation, 20 minutes. Second presentation, 20 minutes. Third, culminating in a 20-minute discussion and drawing parallels, stimulating thought. You all can decide what you want to do in that last 20 minutes to really get the conversation going. And then how you decide to draw the parallels or stimulate creative thought and interactivity is really up to you as the facilitator. Here is a link, 53 ways to check for understanding, that we've provided in the past before. And you can log onto the VAIS website and go to the resource tab, and then under teacher, all grades, to actually get that 53 ways to check for understanding. And that will provide you with some alternative ideas if you need them as a facilitator. Finally, questions. Don't hesitate to call me. I've provided you my cell phone, and I've also given you my email, and I'm happy to talk to you about any questions you may have about the day, about your role as a facilitator, or whatever the case may be. Finally, thank you. Thank you, thank you. We could not do this conference without you, and that is the case. Betsy Hunrow, our executive director, has said we don't want this to be your typical sit and get conference. Our hope is that you get your participants engaged and interacting with one another, and the hope is ultimately that these participants will make a friend that day outside of their school and connect in ways that will be really enriching in their growth as a teacher or administrator. So really, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on October 14th.